All right, this is going to be a really cool series that I'm super excited to start. More excited than I think my co-host is. But I'm Justin, and I got Jessi joining me, and we're starting a new little podcast. We're going to keep Weird Wednesday. That's not going anywhere. We're going to get back to that soon. We're just taking a little bit of a break to do some other podcasts. But we're going to start doing a retro Walking Dead review and discussion podcast, because when our channel started, we started on season 6, I believe, and so we're going to go back and start at the very first episode and do an episode by episode review and discussion of the show. And Jessi had never, so I'm current on it, and Jessi has never seen it before, and she just watched the first episode. And Jessi, you can be honest, you weren't that big of a fan so far.
No, and I'll tell you what, I don't understand how people saw the first episode and was like, I'm hooked.
You know what you got to remember? You have to remember it was 2010. That was 12 years ago. We had different standards of
Have things gotten that much better?
I mean, even if you watch The Walking Dead, like the cinematography, the lighting has all gotten better. I mean, when you first watch, and something interesting too, this first season was directed by a guy named Frank Darabont. He's the one that did like the Shawshank Redemption. He's done a lot of big works. And so once you get to season 2, it's similar, but they had a new showrunner. And then season 3 had another one. So the show kind of changes every season because they kept passing between showrunners. But
good.
It's gonna get good. I'm telling you. So
I'm waiting for it.
So what was it in particular that you weren't that fond of?
Okay, it was like overly dramatic, first of all. Second of all, I really feel like the acting was terrible.
Well, you also got to remember too, because Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick, he becomes in that show such a good, as it goes on, he because he's British. You know, he's English. I'm not sure if he's from Britain. He's from over there in the UK.
We get what you're saying.
Yeah.
He has a cool accent.
Until like the last year or two, I didn't realize that, like, I thought the UK was just like Britain. I didn't. But he's an Englishman. A lot of people that you're Morgan, the guy that he meets with his son. Morgan is also a English actor.
They should have just kept the accents. I would have liked it more.
They both are English, and they are trying to do like Southern accents, but they get better. I mean, Rick's accent is always, something that people always joke about, but his acting gets so much better as the show goes on. I mean, he really is. I'm really excited for you to get into it, because he really is a good actor. Like it really, his acting really shined as he got into that show.
We will see. We will see.
So in the first episode, we start out. What would you think of the zombie girl? With the little zombie girl, and think about this: the little zombie girl at the very beginning of the episode, with the teddy bear or whatever. Like, she's grown up now.
What do you mean?
Well, that was 12
as a zombie.
No, as an actress. That was filmed 12 years ago. So if she was 10, she'd be 22. No, I've seen pictures of like then and now, and they show like the actors from the show that used to be on it, and like them then, and like with her, she's like fully grown up now. So I mean, it's just wild to think how long ago that was filmed.
It is. It makes me feel old, because I was definitely not even living with my parents anymore when that came out.
Yep. I remember the night it came out, I went to, and I know the listeners don't know who this is, but I went to Brian Seat's house, because him and I were both so excited to see that. Like, when we heard there was a show about zombies, and I had went ahead and bought some of the comics and read them. So, just kind of be ready for it. And because I was a big zombie fan, and so was he. And then I remember it came out Halloween of 2010. And I remember going to his house to watch it. And just like how you said you weren't fond of it, we got done with that first episode. We're like, man, I can't wait till next Sunday.
I don't know. Okay, so another thing that I was like, y'all could have done way better is when he woke up in the hospital, his fake beard didn't even cover where his real beard would be. So it looked like he had been shaving
The
and just
nurses
left.
could have been shaving him. He was in a coma for a month. So he was.
Why would they shave? No.
Nurses take care of you when you're in a coma. I mean, his wife might have come in there and shaved him up.
Okay.
You know, because Shane kept visiting
give that
him.
To you. But also, who wakes up from a coma after a month and is able to walk?
Well, and also, somebody's actually said that, which he did have trouble walking at first, though. Like, he fell out the bed and he was like, nurse.
Oh, that part was hilarious. Did I send you a Snapchat?
I don't think of that, no.
That scene? Oh,
No.
when he fell, I died laughing.
It was so simple. I will tell you, though, next episode, you're going to meet my least favorite character of the entire show. I'm going to go ahead and tell you her name is Andrea. She is god-awful. God-awful. But there are some good characters in the show. And you're going to get, I think you'll start, it certainly has cheesy moments, but I think starting next episode, it's going to be different because you're going to have so many more people, whereas this one episode was like basically just him and then like Morgan and his kid, but it was a very just on him episode.
Yeah.
So next episode, you're going to have more people involved, and Michael Roker's in it, and you got to like Michael, which his name in the show is Merle.
Merle.
Have you ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
What's how do you say his name? Windu, the blue dude with the mohawk?
Yeah.
That's Merle. He's in episode 2.
Ooh.
And
I'm excited.
He's kind of a piece of shit, but he like I will my goal is to not spoil any of this for you, but I will say there was a meme that came out once that was like Merle was a racist piece of shit, but he was our racist piece of shit.
So in the end of the episode, when they showed Rick's wife, right, and his kid.
Yeah.
Was that in the first episode?
Yeah.
Make sure I only watched the first one. Okay, just making sure I wasn't bleeding over.
No. Wait. I think that was at the beginning of this. Was it at the beginning of the second? No, I think it was the first, because when he was in the vehicle and he was trying to radio, Shane like comes and slams the axe down or whatever and tries to talk to him, and then you see, okay,
yes,
yeah, that is the first. Yep.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens with the dude's wife and the dude's best friend.
Oh yeah,
or his partner or whatever. That's like the only thing I'm excited about. Like, how is that going to play out?
Oh no, it's going to be. And Shane is actually. See, it's like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. Shane is one of those characters too that it's divided, but I think I think the majority of people like Shane, but he definitely, his character progression is wild. Like it's good. I'm telling you, the show will get better. It when I watch it, it's definitely indicative of like 2010 times, but it grows, it gets better. I will say, like, now they're in the last season 11, and in my opinion it's not as good as it was, but it's like this past Sunday was really, really good. So it definitely will start having some hit and misses, but I think are you a fan of Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Don't know that person.
My girlfriend, like, that's her celebrity pass. She wants to do him so bad she doesn't know what to do.
What is he in?
He's in The Watchmen. He was in Grey's Anatomy. He's been in a lot of stuff. I'll hold up a picture for you to see of him in a second. But when he comes in, he's a very interesting character. But that's a long, long way down the road.
Yeah, I'm going to have fun catching up with you because I already don't have enough time as it is. Are you looking at a picture?
I am. I'm going to pull it up.
Okay.
Pull it up and show it to you. I don't know if I should show you him as Negan or just like a... Now, I will say when they show so they have an episode where they're going to show Negan's backstory, and that is one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead they've ever had.
What season is that?
Oh, that's like current. It's going to be a while before you get to that.
Dang.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen here and show you Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Share screen. Let's do this one.
It's funny because, like, I know all these names, but I don't know what they look like because people are, always talking about The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him.
Yeah, Caitlin wants his butt so bad.
His butt.
Oh yeah, she said anything
Okay.
he wants. He is good though. It's funny though because like he is awesome. Like 100%, he becomes one of the best characters on the entire show. But the first season with him in it is one of the lowest rated seasons because it's just kind of slow. I mean, whenever he's on screen, it's great, but it is it's you know, people think it's a slower season, but
Yeah.
But with this episode, I mean, did the zombies scare you at all?
No. But zombies don't really scare me anyway. So
Yeah, and I feel like it's different now from then because zombies were popular in pop culture already, but they weren't, I would say they weren't like mainstream per se. Like everybody knew what zombies were, but unless you like watched old horror movies or played Resident Evil, you didn't really.
yeah.
They weren't, you know, and then The Walking Dead really made zombies like a mainstream thing. And then we just got so desensitized to zombies. I mean, they were in commercials and, you know, it just got to the point where they weren't even scary anymore.
Well, like, I really like gory stuff anyway. So I like seeing all of that, the gory side of the show with all the zombies.
Well, and
I like it.
The Walking Dead, for the most part, does a really good job with their special effects. And like special effects as in like makeup. They do have some CGI moments later that are not that good. But when they the guy that does their makeup, Greg Nicotero, he's done a lot of famous monster makeup and stuff. And the zombies in the show are really well made. I mean, the makeup that goes into that is wild. It's a talent.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that? You did drawings on faces and stuff. Have you ever done like wild makeup, like face prosthetics and stuff?
I haven't. It does seem like something that would be really fun, though.
I could definitely see you getting into that.
Yeah. I could totally do that.
But I wish I could take you back to 2010 to watch it. And I say that because while you watch it now and the zombies aren't scary, and I'm not going to say they were terrifying, but when you were watching it then, it was kind of different because you hadn't been so overwhelmed with zombie culture at that point that it was, you know.
Well, I will tell you, when I was watching the show, I was home. I wasn't by myself, but my parents weren't here, and I think only one of the kids was here, and he was downstairs. So I was up here watching it by myself. It was dark outside, and the dog started barking outside, and I freaked out. And I like put it on pause, and I sat there like real still, like, oh my God.
Got to go get my gun.
What is happening? Yeah, so that it did freak me out, which is, it was definitely because I was watching it. Because the dogs bark all the time, and it never bothers me. Just that one time.
And I don't think, you know, back then even it was that scary, but I know it definitely was a little creepier back then. But then the show kind of gets to the point where, like now, you know, like Rick goes to take when they come out of that house, Morgan's house the next day or whatever. Rick takes the baseball bat and like it takes a few swings to kill that zombie.
Yeah.
And then as you progress, zombies become nothing but like a minor inconvenience. You know, it's like 10 zombies and someone walks up with a pocket knife and takes them all out. But what's cool about the show, too, that you'll see is the zombies get more and more decayed as the seasons go. So like now they're pretty fresh now because it's only been a month into the zombie apocalypse. So they're still, you know, fairly recently turned.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Oh, as you get into later seasons, I mean, some of them are a little more than walking skeletons. I mean, there's not anything left of them.
I'm excited.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to say like, oh, this is going to be your favorite show of all time. But I think I'd say once you get into season 3, you get hooked. So season 1, it's okay. You know, it was good then for those of us that liked it. Believe it or not, season 2 is my favorite season of the entire show. But it's considered to be probably the most boring season because they spend the entire season like on this farm. But it's my favorite season. I feel like you get the most, like some of the most character development out of that season. You get to know the characters better, and you know, you meet new characters. So and Rick kind of like really turns from being like officer friendly into somewhat of a badass. So I mean, I like season 2, but I'll tell you, by the time you get into season 3, you'll be hooked. I can guarantee it.
All right, we'll see.
You might even say, you know what, I really don't like the show that much, but I'm just too invested at this point to stop watching.
Yeah, I probably will. I'm already invested in the whole the wife and the friend thing now, so.
Oh, and that's going to get even more interesting next episode. Just wait.
I bet.
But yeah, it's like I said, a little slower on the takeoff, but I overall I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, it didn't become the #1 show on cable for nothing.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I just don't understand how people saw the first episode and they were hooked.
It just was something totally different then.
I guess, yeah.
You know, I mean, like true. I said, 12 years ago. Where were you 12 years ago? What were you doing? Were you married at that point, living in Richmond?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Actually, I was probably living in Northern Virginia. I was like 20. Wait, 12 years? I was 22. I was living in Richmond.
You were 22 12 years ago?
I'm 34 now. So 12 years ago would be 22, right?
Yeah, damn, we old, man.
So I was divorced and living in Richmond at that time.
I mean, we're at that point now, you know, like I used to feel like when someone said, God, 15 years ago, I was doing so-and-so. It's like, God, they old. Now I'm like 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was in my mid-20s.
Dude, it's the thing that makes me feel the oldest is when I think about how long I've been best friends with my best friends. Like, it's been over 20 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
it's wild.
Like I said, I met you I was a year or two above you, but I met you when you were in like 8th grade. That would have been like 14. So I've known you for right around 20 years. See? We old.
Oh, we're not even that old though. I don't know.
We're not. Well, old is relative too. I mean, you ask a 60-year-old, am I old? Yeah. And they're going to be like, are you kidding me? You're still a baby. But you ask like a 15-year-old, am I old? And you're old as dirt.
You remember you were turning, I don't know, 28 or something. And I was like, dude, you're so old, man.
I do remember that. I remember that exact conversation. Because I think it like hurt my soul. Because I was like, shoot, I am old.
But I wasn't too far behind you. I don't know.
Pretty sure that's what I said too. I said, Jessi, you're not that much younger than me. So if I'm old, you right there with me, homie.
Yeah, well, we're both here now, so.
So what do you think about Rick Grimes? Do you think he's hot?
Are you kidding? Do people think he's hot?
Do you want to see him? So we're going to flash forward a little bit. Do you want to see him in later seasons?
Sure.
I mean, this isn't going to spoil anything, but I'll show you kind of what he looks like in later. Because I don't think Caitlin would have been that thought he was attractive then either. But as the show progresses and he kind of ages, he kind of gets that grizzled older man look. Grizzly older man. Let's see. Let me share my screen and let's see. Is Rick hot or not? Let's see. Share screen.
Not in the first episode.
Let's see.
Yeah, he looks better. I wouldn't say that he's hot. He looks stupid.
Jessi.
He does.
What are you?
Look at him. I wish I could show you the one. The one right in the middle is the one I'm. Okay, well now it's there. You go. The one right in the middle is like.
This one.
He looks cross-eyed.
If you knew why he was crying, you'd feel so bad for saying that. That's after a huge like character death. Someone very important to him.
I'm so sorry.
Well, don't apologize to me. Apologize to Andrew Lincoln. To Rick Grimes. You apologize to Rick Grimes.
I will more than likely be very attracted to some girl on here before a guy.
I don't want to hear it. You've only been lesbian for like 2 weeks.
Listen.
You don't get to go from you don't get to switch that quick. Look, character progression, Jessi. It has to be a gradual change of your character, not just wake up and go, oh, guess what? But no,
I'm just saying.
But he definitely gets a more grizzled look as the show goes on.
He definitely looks better there. But
in this one, this was what part was this? Right there, he definitely looks like he looks goofy in this picture. He's like, it looks like you just farted. And like that's
and you're like trying to smell it,
And he's looking, he just smelt it. And he's like,
chicken nuggets.
Did you do that?
Zombie nuggets.
And no, the thing about his accent is that, they told him when he got the role, I was watching some behind the scenes, and he said they had told him, they said, he was like trying to figure the accent out, and they were like, well, go to a bar, in the South and just listen to drunk people talk and that's actually what he did. He went to a bar in the South and just sat in the bar and in the parking lot and listened to drunk people. And that's what he based his accent on.
That's funny because drunk Southern people are more Southern than sober Southern people.
And that's the thing. Whenever I watch shows like that, I mean, we both have Southern accents, but when we watch shows like this, I always, as a Southerner and as someone who has a Southern accent, I always feel like they over-exaggerate the crap out of it.
They really do.
I mean, just wait till you start hearing him yell his son's name. His son's name is Carl, but, according... Carl!
Cool.
And it's a good, I'm telling you, it's a good show, man. It has some good moments. It has some sad moments, some great twists and turns. I'll tell you this too, man, don't get attached to anybody because it's kind of slowed down in later seasons, but man, in the first few seasons, you can't get attached to anybody. About time you get to the point where you're like, I really like this character. Bam, they're dead.
I was pretty attached to the little girl zombie.
Yeah, she was compelling, but she didn't last too long.
I wonder why she picked up the teddy bear, though. Would a zombie do that?
And that's it. So there was, and I won't say who, but in later seasons, there's a character who dies. They turn into a zombie, and the actor had tried to convince the director to let him say someone's name, like as a zombie. And, the director was like, no, because zombies, they don't retain any of their former life. So
yeah.
I feel like the little girl bear thing was just done for creep factor. Because it really does contradict later on the fact that like zombies are nothing of their former selves. There's there's even a point where certain people in the show will be trying to prove that there is and like really there's not. So it's like, it is contradictory, but.
Well, it was probably it was like a little glimmer of hope, I guess, that there was like another real person. Cause I thought that's a good point. It was meant to be misleading because at this point you didn't realize she was a zombie. So you were thinking like maybe it was little girl. I mean, it was especially right. The way he was saying that was really funny. And now that I know that he's British or whatever, it makes sense.
Little girl. It's like in any other situation other than the zombie apocalypse, would that not be creepy as hell? I'm going to teach my daughter growing up, if anyone ever says, little girl, you just run the opposite way.
Yes. That is solid advice.
It's okay, little girl.
Little girl. I'm a police little girl.
I'm a police little girl. Well, at least there is something in the show that you are, excited to see, the whole wife and friend thing. Your next episode, you're going to meet arguably one of the most popular characters the show's ever had, and you're going to meet them pretty quick. So,
all right.
I'm excited for you to watch episode 2.
I'll be the judge of that.
I'm excited, too, for the progression, because for the listeners, you'll get to see, if Jessi starts to gradually come around to the show, or at least get to a point where she, like I said, you're like, well, it's not so much that I love it, but I'm just too invested at this point to stop watching.
I guess I'll start liking it. I mean, if all these other people liked it, then I guess I can, too.
That's the you know what? That's the mindset the world needs right now.
I'll stick around for the gore.
Well, if nothing else, I know you'll stick around for the podcast. So,
Yeah.
Jesse's one of the
exactly.
Jessi is probably the or one of the most loyal podcasting partners I have ever had.
Oh.
If we've ever missed a podcast with her, I can guarantee you it was because of me. Like 100%. Haven't done Weird Wednesday in 2 weeks because my ass has just been busy.
And you know what I did?
What'd you do?
When I was sick, I still podcasted.
You did, yeah. You had the Rona.
I did.
And you were still podcasting. Podcast it through the Rona, just for the podcasting dead listeners.
So loyal.
You've never really read any comics, have you?
Nah.
Because I tell you, it is really cool if you ever get a chance, and I've got all of them, but I've got them in the hardcover, so they're not, you don't have to worry about messing up the comic or anything. I've got the collection, but, if you ever want to, it is really cool to go back and, just read through the comics and watch the episodes to see kind of how they, how they followed along.
So it's not disappointing, like when you read a book and then watch the movie?
No, what's really cool is there are certain aspects of the comic that are way better, and then there are certain points in the show that are way better. Because the writer of the comic was actually the executive producer of the show for a while, or one of them, and I think he kind of got out of it after a while. And I know they had like a lawsuit or something, but there were certain characters that he killed off in the comic that he like regretted killing them off in that way. But then in the show, they were able to change that and not do it that way. Like there's some characters in the comic, he really, like there's one character in the comic that was a, popular character, and they're just walking, and the next thing you know, there's an arrow going through their eye and they're just gone,
What the heck?
And he said he honestly hated that he did it that way. He did it because he wanted it to be, because that's how real life and war is people just die. It's not always glorious in a build-up, but
this is not real life. It is a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
He didn't have to do that.
Right, but he did. But, so yeah, it's really, because, there are some aspects of the show that are like when Negan shows up, which, again, is it's like the end of season 6, but when Negan shows up, like, it's so cool to, like, look at the comics, and there's certain frames in the way he's standing that, like, they did shot for shot. So like, you'll see Negan kind of bent over with the bat behind his back, and then you'll look in the comic and he's standing the exact same way when he's given the exact same line.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool to kind of read through and just see how they compare. Episode 1 was pretty loyal to the comics, honestly. When you read through the first issue or two, it is pretty much, it's very, very similar to the show. And then it starts to deviate, because I guess they figured if they stuck too close to the comic, it wouldn't be that interesting for people who read the comics.
Yeah.
Because you know exactly what's going to happen.
That's true.
But they do follow some main story points. But what'd you think of Morgan and his son?
They're pretty cool.
What's your wound?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, how did they survive? It's really sad about the mom, though. Like that part where he was trying to shoot her through the window, but he couldn't do it.
Yep. And then she wiggled the doorknob. That was kind of creepy.
Oh, yeah, that was creepy. Well, yeah, that part kind of got me, because I was like, I was thinking about, like, could I do that? I don't know.
Can you open a door?
No, fool.
I hope at this point in life you've got that part figured out.
A lot of times I do have trouble with that, but that's just, it is what it is. No, would I be able to shoot a loved one if they turned into a zombie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be... and like what I had... So, again, sometimes if you listen to our podcast, you hear me reference like my zombie story that I have a timestamp from WordPad. It started writing in 2009, so it was not directly inspired by The Walking Dead. But in mine, I made it to where they, like... At first they didn't, but then they found out down the road that, like, the people are still in there. You can't bring them back, but it's more or less, their body's just been hijacked by this parasite. And like, so that makes it even harder to kill them, because it's one thing to kill a zombie that was like your mom, if you 100% know that like it's not your mom anymore. It's another thing to kill them and know that like your mom is still in there and can feel everything and hear everything and is still... so
that would be the worst.
Because I always thought, like, yeah, I love my mom to death, but like, if half her face was missing and she was trying to eat me, I really don't think I'd have any trouble putting an axe in her head. But knowing that she's there and can hear me and can understand me, and that she's going to feel anything I do trying to take her out would make it a real challenge,
Yeah, that would suck. I don't know if I'd be able to do it. Like, if it was one of the kids, I don't think I could. I don't know.
I don't know. Mine's still real little. I think I could outrun her.
Yeah, hopefully we won't ever have to find out the answer to these questions.
Yeah, because the Walking Dead zombie virus is actually, it's pretty. I mean, all zombie viruses, I guess, are unrealistic, but the Walking Dead especially, because it's like they're dead. They're actually like dead.
They're already gone, and like there's no point in keeping them around.
Well, like 28 days later, it's like an advanced form of like rabies or mad cow disease or something. So it's, they actually do stuff, because in the Walking Dead universe, they can, they'll walk forever, but they're dead and they're decaying. But it's like, if you don't have any muscle mass on your arm, you don't have any way to lift it. But in the show, they'll still, so it's pretty unrealistic. But but they do. It is cool. I'm excited for you to see how the zombies progress in their decayedness, because like within a few seasons, they start getting rotten.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is some gross stuff, man.
I'm excited.
But yeah, so we'll be doing these episode by episode, starting with, of course, this being the first one, and then we'll review episode 2 here soon. I'm not sure I don't really think I used to try to keep things on a schedule, like Weird Wednesday and all that, but it's hard to do that. But I will definitely try to put out at least 1 or 2 a week to keep it going. But in the meantime, Jessi, don't lose faith. You're gonna love the show.
All right, you got me pumped.
All right. Well, everybody, let us know your thoughts. If you haven't, go back and rewatch the first episode and then revisit this and see how it feels. Because again, it's 2 perspectives. It's me being retrospective, and for Jessi, it's brand new. So,
yep.
In the meantime, we'll see you soon. I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Adios.
Bye.